So this morning, I want to look at some of the laws of the universe and just touch on them. In TIR, the laws are very much sort of buried in each lesson. So you're the whole way through TIR, you are very much working in harmony with the laws of the universe. You're learning through the activities and the suggestions that we're making. You're using the laws. You may not consciously realize it. In Lead the Field, they are much more evident in each lesson, what we're working with, what we're using, and so forth. In Inner Circle, we might be practicing one law at a time. It's even more intense, there. Today, I just wanted to sort of speak to a few of them specifically and give you a little bit of an overview of them, and talk about them. And if I can, I'll try to reference specific lessons and so forth as we go through. The first one that I want to talk about is the perpetual transmutation of energy. And this is spoken about right at the beginning of TIR in lesson 1. I've got some notes here that I'm also going to read from. But the perpetual transmutation of energy is the fact that energy moves from one form to another. And your C-type goal in the beginning is a spiritual seed. It's completely non-physical. It's an image, right? And with your imagination, you're going to the frequency of that and you're building the image there. And it's like you're building the spiritual seed. You're putting the DNA and the structure of it all together, right? And you begin to hold that image on the screen of your conscious mind. You've built it with the power flowing to and through you. And you begin to impress it upon your subconscious mind, supreme intelligence, universal subconscious mind. And to and through you, it starts to take form. You build new paradigms that are in harmony with it. You begin to feel it in your body. The subconscious mind is in every cell. You begin to express the energy of this goal. You're in the frequency of it. You begin to behave like it and you begin to attract back to you the result. And that creates the physical side of it. So the energy has changed from non-physical to physical to and through you. The energy was an idea. It's begun to manifest as a feeling. The feeling has produced actions and behaviors, and you've started to create the results. So that at the basis of everything here is that perpetual transmutation of energy from one form to another. The image that you hold in your mind most often materializes in results in your life. The image that you hold in your mind most often results in the materialization, right, on the physical plane. So we want to be conscious of this. We want to understand that the whole goal achievement process is really moving energy from one form to another form. And begin to see your life like that. Begin to see yourself as like that. I look at, it's so evident, particularly if you've been doing this work with me for a while, it's so evident when you look at yourself and you look at pictures of energy moving from one form to another to and through you, that you actually look different. If you look at pictures of me from 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I fundamentally look different. Energy has moved to and through me. I have changed form based on the image that I've been holding. So look at yourself. Particularly if you've been doing this work with me for a while, have a look. You'll see what I mean, that you look different. Energy has changed from one form to another to and through you, and you're physically have changed in that process as well. Perpetual transmutation of energy. The next one that I want to talk about is the law of vibration. So everything vibrates, nothing rests. We're in a constant state of motion. The same law that grows your grass, that puts leaves on the trees, is participating in your life as well. We can't escape it. The law of vibration also decrees that everything moves, nothing rests, and we're either in a state of growth or disintegration. So if we're not growing spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, at some level, we'll be in a state of disintegration. And we do exist simultaneously on the different planes. So in order to grow physically, we also must be growing spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So if we want physical results to change, where do we have to create the change? On the inside, on the not invisible side of success. And we've got to be involved with C-type goals and ideas that stretch us, that have us going where we've never been before, engaging in new energy, new thoughts, new feelings, Because ultimately, beyond anything else, you might think you want the money or the house or the car or the better business. What we're actually seeking is that growth and vitality, is that sense of well-being, sense of when people say, I just, I want to be happy, well, get a C-type goal. Grow, stretch yourself, because the byproduct of that growth is a greater sense of well-being, is more fulfillment, a feeling of enrichment, a feeling of prosperity that comes with it. And ultimately, that is actually what you're looking for. You could have all of the other things, but not have that, and you'd give all of that away to feel those things. So what we're really doing with the law of vibration is looking for a C-type goal that is specific, that is those things, money, houses, businesses, something specific, a company growth, an achievement that enables that growth spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically to get the byproduct of that sense of well-being. This is why in the Wealthy You, module 2, which is all about goals, is actually called well-being, your well-being. It directly requires growth. So if we're not setting and achieving C-type goals, if a person sets one and doesn't set another one, they're going to enter disintegration. First of all, it'll be spiritual, because we've got this pure positive source energy, but we're only working with old ideas now. There's nothing new being created with this energy. We're a spiritual being. There's no new thoughts, so it's just flatlining, right? There's no new thoughts being created. There's no new emotional growth, no new feelings. It's just same old, same old. Physically, there can be no growth because the physical side of us is a product of the non-physical. So we're going to enter disintegration. And if we have begun to see it physically, the horse is already bolted. We're too late out of the gates. This is why we don't want to wait until we're, sick, unhappy, and broke to start to do the work. Like you are truly leading your own life here, being here when it's good, when you're doing really well, because this is where you want to be. You want to be out ahead of it. You want to always be ahead of it spiritually, because the last and lowest level, you're already seeing something not going the way you want it to physically. It's like, well, hang on a second, that started spiritually, mentally, and emotionally a while ago. So we always want to be proactive with that, because the law of vibration requires us to be proactive with our growth. Otherwise, we're just going to be in disintegration. What else do I want to say about that? So law of attraction then. Law of attraction is a secondary law. It responds to our vibration. Whatever images that we're in harmony with are going to dictate the vibration that we're in. So if we're involved in growth images that feel good to us, we're going to be in a better vibration. We're going to be in a growth vibration. That's what we can attract back to us. If you're not feeling good, if things are going poorly, you got to look at the images and ideas, because that's part of that vibration. Law of attraction is responding to that. So the law of attraction can only bring you what you are in harmony with, which is why law of vibration is what we must understand more so in the beginning. That we got to get on the level of what we want. We got to think, feel, and act in harmony with what we want, and law of attraction begins to respond to that. I do want to add one extra piece in around the law of attraction from this book, Working with the Law, around expectation, which is an important part of the law of attraction. The underlying law that regulates supply in the world of effects has two important phases. One is desire and the other is expectation. So the more we study this and the more we know and understand it, and that our conditions and circumstances are constantly responding to our vibration. As we know that and we understand that, we will also begin to expect better, expect to get the results that we want, expect to see the changes that we want, because we know it's part and parcel of the same thing. The first phase of desire embraces a positive process of attraction. It's why in Lead the Field we say, you must want it with your heart. Feel it in your heart. You can't sometimes, can't even explain maybe why you want what you want. You'll say, okay, but you want it in your heart. You feel it with your heart. You desire it, right? You also know and understand that you're whole and complete, and you're already unconditional, but you understand the law of vibration requires a C-type goal for us to be growing. So there's this thing that you want very much and you desire it. You want it. When an individual earnestly desires a thing, he sets up a line of force that connects him with the invisible side of the good desired. Remember I said that we're a continuation. The physical side of us is the last and lowest level that things manifest on. The highest level is spiritual. So when we earnestly desire it, when we see it, when we want it, we set up this invisible line of force that connects us with it. The principle involved is that you cannot long or yearn for anything unless it already exists. It exists. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had the intuition or the guidance that it's there. Because we want something, your wants come to you through your principle of guidance, through the non-physical side of you showing you. Here's something I know that you're going to want. You'll like this, da-da-da-da-da, right? It exists. It already exists in a reality. So if it wasn't the case, then you wouldn't have the desire. So it exists. It already exists. Desire is the motive power for calling it forth into visible appearance or physical effect. It is no use to desire a thing unless you expect to get it, either in part or in full. So expectation is then the other side of it. No point in desiring it unless you expect to get it. So you've got to practice that. Again, this is one of the ways in which we're thinking in a certain way that has to become a belief. So I want you to practice that. I want you to get yourself emotionally involved with your C-type goal. You know, read it, write it, look at pictures of it, expect it, know that it's happening. Talk to yourself like that you go, this is real. This is a place. There is a place. And right now you're in the middle of bringing it into physics. You're connected with it. It's happening. You know, sell yourself on it. Napoleon Hill always said, before we can sell anybody else, we've got to sell ourselves. And you have to sell you on your C-type goal. Make that a priority. Make that a priority this week now, to sell yourself on your C-type goal. That's law of attraction. Let's talk also law of relativity. So law of relativity says that nothing is big or small, nothing is good or bad until we compare it to something else. It's like, you know, Sandy Gallagher always used to say, don't see numbers as big. Don't see any, you know, she used to work in 100 million, 100 billion, like big dollars. And said, don't think of it as big or small, see it as an image. And if you do see something as big or small, compare it to something beyond it until you change the energy around it. So I used to do this webinar, or this, particularly when I did a lot of live events, how to make $1 million look small. And what I would do is I would get people to, you know, think about their earning $20,000 a month, earning $80,000 a month, and play around with that idea. And then I would get them to think about earning $1 million a month and work with that idea. What would that look like in their business? How would it feel? Da, da, da. And then I'd get them to earn $10 million a month, you know, and just really try to blow their minds with these images and ideas. And then we would come back to $1 million a year. And they would feel, you feel so easy about it now. And so all we've done there is law of relativity. So how do I want you to use this? How can you use this? If you have a situation or a problem right now that feels big for you, compare it to something bigger. Because what we want to do is change how we feel about it. We want to change the energy in relation to it, because that opens up for the shift. Don't worry about trying to find a solution for it at the moment. Don't worry about trying to find a mechanical way through it. As much as you might want to do that, I know that I want to do that a lot as an Aries, just power my way through it and get it done. First, we need to change how we feel about it. So compare it to something that feels much, much bigger or more complicated or more difficult, and that thing will feel now really easy. Also, why your C-type goal feels big in the beginning is because you're comparing it to where you presently are. Up until yesterday, your thinking was so limited to your present results. It was so limited to what you thought you could do. looking at yourself that this was as good as it was ever going to get, and no new levels of awareness. Yeah. So we sort of think, well, how am I going to do it? This is going to be hard, because we think we've got to achieve it from the current level of awareness. And that's impossible. We're going to grow that level of awareness and get onto the same level as the goal, and all the answers are there for us then. So it feels big because we're looking at it from down here and thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do that? But if we can go up here and look down on it, we go, that doesn't seem so difficult. So that's law of relativity. Use it to your advantage, and you can use it in any area of your life to make it feel easier and better. Change the energy around a situation or a circumstance. The law of polarity, we've spoken about this already today, but everything has an opposite. So if we can figure out why something can't be done, then we can also figure out how it can. If you can give yourself 10 reasons as to why you can't achieve, if your paradigm is giving you 10 reasons as to why you can't achieve your goal, or it's going to be too difficult or too hard, the law says, this is just not Karen Brook or Bob Proctor or anybody else, the law says there are 10 reasons how and why you can, by law. But you have to discipline and train yourself to look for them. And that's the skill, that's the secret, right? It's like in lesson 2, Greener Pastures, Acres of Diamonds. The opportunity is here, but you got to go digging for it. You got to look for it. You got to train yourself to look for it. It's not just going to pop out. Like, you have to train yourself to think in a certain way. So anytime you notice yourself thinking a negative thought, use the law of polarity to change it to a positive. Anytime you notice yourself thinking this is difficult or it can't be done, think of how it is easy and it can be done, and how it could be easy. So train yourself to use the law of polarity. If you've got a big problem, it means there's a big opportunity, or it can turn out really, really well. So the law of polarity. Also, constantly look for the good in people and situations. When you find it, tell the person. People love compliments, and the positive idea in your mind makes you feel good. Look for the good and acknowledge the good. Remember, good idea, good vibration. Stay involved with good ideas. Stay involved in good vibrations. This is where we just have to, again, choose our attitude at the outset. That we are, no matter what, we're going to put out our best. Hold yourself to that high standard. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a forever process. You know, it's like Bob Proctor always said, this isn't just, I've done this personal development work, I'm going to put it in a jar and put a lid on it and put it on the shelf. It's forever work. And we go to higher levels of awareness, and then we're able to do more and achieve more and give more. If we don't ever expand our level of awareness, that's as good as it's ever going to get. And then we enter disintegration. And eventually we see the results of that physically manifest. Law of rhythm. The tide goes out, night follows day, good times, bad times. When we are on a downswing, do not feel bad. Know the swing will change and things will get better. There are good times coming, so think of them. This is a beautiful law of rhythm. Just like, you know, we have cycles in life. We have menstrual cycles. We have children have cycles that they go through. The ocean has cycles. It's normal. So if you feel you're on a bit of a downswing, know that it will come back, right? Understand the law of rhythm also exists. And this is just one of the ideas that I am so grateful to have experienced Bob teach live in the room and tell me all about, because it's such a game changer. Is the law of rhythm exists spiritually, intellectually, and physically. So physically, you may feel physically tired. Your body is sore. You've just, run a marathon or been dealing with a lot, and physically you feel tired. But intellectually, you can still be high. And being able to discern the difference, I think, is a very powerful thing to be able to do. So spiritually, you can still be one with your goal, even if physically you need to rest, you need to sleep. I was teaching this to a client in a circle yesterday, and I said, even though physically right now you have to be in other places, doing other activities, just know that spiritually and intellectually you're still one with your C-type goal. You're there. You can hold yourself still to the high standard mentally. Just because you feel tired and you need to take a nap or you need to sleep, intellectually you can still do your study and stay where you want to be. You can still close your eyes and visualize and go there. By the same token, if spiritually or intellectually, you feel a little flat lining a little bit or a little low, but physically you actually, your body's fine, like you're eating well, all the rest of it, then physically use that to carry you through. Go for a walk, listen to some music that makes you feel good. Help yourself through while your spirit and intellect just catches up with you again. So I think understanding this law of rhythm, being able to draw it out and really see, like Bob used to draw it like this. I'll just, if we look at that, spirit, intellect, physical, and let's say physically we're feeling really high, but, intellectually we feel a bit lower. Just think about it like that. Physically we're feeling really, really good, but intellectually we're a little bit like, whew. So what do we need to do to get ourselves intellectually back? We might need to write out our goal, bring order to our thoughts, put our lesson on, meditate a little bit, empty the mind for a moment. But physically we feel really good. Spiritually, if intuition has stopped talking to us, well, hey, we need to remind ourselves of who we are. We are spiritual beings. It's ignorance. We forgot for a moment who we are. We got pure positive source energy. It's our awareness that the spirit never left us. Can't. It's our awareness that went missing for a moment or two. We stopped being aware of who we really are. That's why it dipped, right? That's why we went south for a little bit. We go, I've got to remember, spirit of opulence, got to remember who I am, get it back up. Pardon me. And the thing is here, if you remember physics, is wavelength. So if we get into some of the science of this, so what we're actually looking to do is not have massive peaks, because what's the opposite of a peak? A trough. So if the wave is, if we're super high, if we get super excited, chances are we could also be super depressed. So this is where Bob was always like, don't get too excited about anything, because the opposite of excited is depressed. Be enthused, be encouraged, be enthusiastic about what's happening. And if, we just keep a nice balance here, we might dip a little bit, but it's not going to be as much. If we do a massive lot of study and then do nothing, we're going to go massive drop, massive lot of study and then nothing. But if we just keep a nice, even little ticking away with it, we eventually get this nice, even rhythm going in the direction of what we want. Does that make sense? I love this law, and I love thinking about it like this, and just good, simple habits through TIR, through the program that you're in. What you're actually doing is just, instead of massive peaks and troughs and things going this way and that way, and you're just bringing order, consistent order, so the peaks and troughs are not as big. We're just really consistent then in the direction of what we want, and getting the frequency where we want it to be. The law of cause and effect. I mean, this underlines just everything. The law of cause and effect, what you put out, you get back. So impression of increase lesson is all about this. Lesson 4 of TIR looks at what is the causes that produce the results or the effects that we want. The causes are going to be in the mind, in the subconscious mind. So if we're creating results that we don't want, if we've got effects that we don't want, we've got to think about what we're putting in. The new thoughts, the new feelings. Take the action in the energy with the attitude that we're creating the results to begin to change the outcome to produce that new result. Whatever you send out into the universe comes back. Action, reaction are equal and opposite. Say good things to everyone. Treat everyone with total respect, and it will come back. Never worry about what you're going to get. Just concentrate on what you can give, what you can put out. 3, if you're in business or sales or marketing, think about value, service, and effectiveness in terms of the causes. How can you create more value? Where is your value? How do you give value? Service, how are you providing service? How are you giving? What else? Is there anything else you can do? What does that look like? It's not all physical. It's not all about physical action. It is also about spiritual and mental. A huge part of my role as your coach is for the spiritual and the mental side of what I can give you. and the value, one sentence with me makes the whole $12,000 worthwhile investment. So I'm aligned and I'm ready to give you that, to tune in, to tap in, to turn on. It's not about going out and running a marathon together. Sometimes it is, but usually it's not. So think about your business and your company. The value and service is not always, it can be physical, but it's not always. It can be spiritual and mental. Are you there? Are you where you need to be to deliver the best service? And that's where effectiveness comes in. You can have the actions and the whatever, but are you effective? Where is your state of mind? Where are you at? What vibration are you in when you go about your business, when you go about your day? If you want better things to come back to you, how can you put better energy into what you're about to do? So that all plays into law of cause and effect. Two last ones before we finish up just for today. Law of gender. This is about the incubation period of your goal. Every seed has a gestation or an incubation period. Ideas are spiritual seeds and will move into form or physical results. Your goals will manifest when the time is right. Know that they will. The date that you put on your goal card is just a guess, right? It's just a guess. It's when you would love it to happen by. And if it doesn't happen by the date that you say, you got to ask yourself two questions. Did I really believe it? And did I give it everything that I had? Did I give it all that I've got? And then just recalibrate, reset, keep going. They will manifest when the time is right. You've never planted this spiritual seed in the garden of your mind. There might have been a lot of weeds there before. There might have been Roundup used before. There could be a whole bunch of things going on that we've got to clear it out. We've got to improve it. We've got to improve the operating system so that you can perform and achieve the results that you want. Your results are a product of the biocomputer, the mental programs, paradigms that are installed there. This whole process of thinking into results is getting that biocomputer upgraded to match the results that you want, getting the new programs installed that allows you to achieve the goal. And we don't know exactly how much time that's going to take. Time just is. We just have to be there now, doing the work now, and know that it is happening. Know that it is physically manifesting for you. And the last one that I want to touch on just briefly is the law of non-resistance. I love this law, and this is just all about, I just want to share one or two points on this with you. Being an open channel of God's will, of universe's will, not putting up resistance. It's like, if you think about it, and pay attention to this, shops that have their doors open have more customers that go through it. Shops that you have to walk down the steps to will get more customers into it than shops that you have to walk up the stairs to. There's less resistance. It's an easier flow. So you can play around with this law in your business, in your life, make things easier, make them feel easier, but also ideas that you've been competing against. It's like Esther Hicks would say, drop the oars and go downstream for a while. Let go of fighting uphill, let go of fighting yourself, of challenging yourself, of making it that you've got to, overcome massive things to achieve. Just law of non-resistance. And I just want to leave you with this last line here. So don't fight with yourself is probably where I would start with this. Love yourself, be kind to you, be good to you, and that will help that energy be non-resistant. Remove and dissolve every obstacle by blessing it and being willing to understand it. Mark it no longer a stumbling block, but a stepping stone leading to your highest good, right? So I'm going to say that again. So if you have anything in your life right now that feels resistant or more difficult or a challenge or a fight, whatever it is, angry about it, this is what I want you to do. Remove and dissolve every obstacle by blessing it and being willing to understand it. Mark it no longer a stumbling block, but a stepping stone leading to your highest good. Law of non-resistance. Okay. I hope you really enjoyed today's lesson on some of the laws of the universe, giving you some practical ideas. What I would recommend now, coming into the end of this, is just to write down one or two that really resonated with you. Take out your journals just now, one idea that really resonated with you, or a particular law that you want to come back and think about or watch again in this video, and get into using it. So as you hear this training with me, as you hear these videos, take what resonates with you and act on it. And that's how we learn about it. That's how we really learn and experience the lesson here, by going out and doing it and going out and using it.